Okay, so for our first manual muscle test, we're going to be looking at thumb flexion and extension. For client position, we're going to have her seated across from us with her hand in a neutral position on a flat surface. So we'll start with thumb flexion. For thumb flexion, my stabilizing hand is going to be holding the proximal most joint of the thumb, and my working hand is going to go ahead and pinch the distal most joint of the thumb. So before we do the actual test, we're going to go ahead and test her range of motion passively for thumb flexion. Okay. And then actively for thumb flexion, go ahead and flex your thumb. All right. And now we'll go ahead and apply the resistance for the test. So this will be for a count of 3 holds once we begin. So I'm going to go ahead and take her thumb to flex position, and you're going to flex on go, okay? All right, 1, 2, 3, go. Hold, 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 and relax. Good. Okay, so that would be a grade point of 5 because she was able to complete the full range of motion for thumb flexion, as well as go against the resistance for max force there. For thumb extension, client position is going to stay exactly the same. Hand position will stay the same as well. My stabilizing hand this time is actually going to pinch the proximal most joint of the thumb, and my working hand using one finger is going to lay on top of the midline of the thumb, so right here. Once again, we're going to go ahead and check her passive range of motion first by extending her thumb up. And then active range of motion, go ahead and extend your thumb up. Okay, and relax. And then we'll go ahead and apply the resistance now. So once again, finger on top of the midline, and this will also be for a count of 3 holds. So on go, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Hold, 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 and relax. Nice. So once again, this would also be a grade point of 5 because she was able to keep thumb extension against max resistance and go through the full range of motion for thumb extension. Okay, so the next manual muscle test we'll be doing is going to be thumb flexion and extension again, but with gravity eliminated. Now we do this just in case the client is unable to do the previous manual muscle tests for thumb flexion and extension. For client position, she's going to be seated the same, comfortably in a chair. Her hand is going to be pronated down with her palm facing the table, and her thumb is going to be out to the side a little bit to allow for movement. My stabilizing hand is going to be pinching the proximal most joint of the thumb, and in this case we're going to go ahead and test her range of motion actively for both flexion and extension. Go ahead and flex your thumb. Okay, relax and extend. Good, and relax. So both of these tests would be a grade point of 2 because she is able to go through the full range of motion of thumb flexion and extension, but only with gravity being eliminated. Okay, so for our next manual muscle test, we're going to be looking at knee flexion. For client position, we're going to have our client laying in a prone position on a flat surface. Me as the assistant, I am standing to the side of her with easy access to her legs. For hand position, my stabilizing hand is going to be grasping the back of the thigh, while my working hand is going to be cupping the Achilles tendon on the back of the ankle. So before we begin the test, we're going to go ahead and test her range of motion passively for knee flexion first. So here. Okay. Then we're going to test it actively by having her flex her leg. Go ahead and flex. All right. Nice. And now we'll go ahead and apply the resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and start her, bring her knee to a flex position for the starting position. Then cup the Achilles, and when we begin the test, this will be done for a count of 3 holds. So on go, we're going to go ahead and have you flex, okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Hold, 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 Okay, so that would be a grade point of 5 because she was able to complete the full range of motion with max resistance applied. Okay, so for our next manual muscle test, we're going to be looking at knee extension. So for client position, we have our client sitting on the edge of a table with her legs hanging off the edge. Me as the assistant, I'm standing off to her side with easy access to her working leg. In this case, it's going to be the right leg. For hand position, my stabilizing hand is going to be cupping the back of the knee or a little higher for the distal end of the thigh. My working hand is going to be placed on top of the ankle like this. And before we begin the test, we're going to test her range of motion passively for knee extension. So starting from a hanging position, I'm going to extend her knee up. Okay. And then test the range of motion actively. Go ahead and extend your knee. Okay, and relax. And now we'll go ahead and apply the resistance for the actual manual muscle test. So bringing her leg to an extended position. So we're going to do this for a count of 3 holds when we apply the resistance. So on go, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Hold, 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 and relax. Nice. So that would be a grade point of 5 because she was able to successfully complete the range of motion against max resistance there. Okay, so for our final manual muscle test, we're going to be looking at, once again, knee flexion and knee extension, but with gravity eliminated. So in order for us to do this test, our client position has to be on her side on a flat surface, and me as the assistant, I'm behind her. For working and stabilizing hand, in this case, all that they're going to be doing is elevating the non-working leg just to give room for the working leg to move. For knee flexion, the client is going to start with her working leg straight, and she's going to actively flex her knee as far as she can. So go ahead and flex and relax. Okay, and for knee extension, she's going to start with her knee in a flexed position and extend as much as she can. So go ahead and extend and relax. Good. Okay, so both of these would be a grade point of 2 because she's able to complete the full range of motion, but with gravity